Hi, people.
Woohoo!
Welcome to pre-show.
Where Courtney rewrites her notes real quick. Because they got really messy when she was taking her nap.
There we go.
Cool.
I have infinite gold.
Infinite gold.
I do. I have infinite gold.
Thank you, phone. Thank you, everything, for reminding me that I'm already in the podcast.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So it's 7:30. You want to get this show started?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't have the work thing anymore because they got somebody else, but I still need to eat because all I've done is sleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. So,
Yep.
let's do this. Starting the show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 170, Pokemon's getting DLC, Final Fantasy VII delayed, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. We are back after taking a week off because I was sick and finally kind of starting to kick the cold.
Woohoo!
But yeah, feeling much, much better. So
Yay!
I am your illustrious host, Sean Hayes, and with me is my wonderful co-host, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody.
Unfortunately, Discord is having all sorts of weird video issues still, so Courtney's camera might get a little warbled. I don't know how to fix it because it's Discord, and Discord's stupid.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so lots of news. We got quite a few announcements. So let me just fiddle with these. There, do that a little bit just on some of the filters for sound, because I was blowing out the microphone apparently. So, but yeah, we got a lot of news to get through, and Courtney needs to be out on time, so
Yes.
we're not going to dilly dally, and we'll get right into it. So, let's start with some of the little tidbits of news. So kind of the biggest of those is that the Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed.
Okay.
It's been delayed 1 month to April 10th. They want some extra time for quality control and to basically add some final polish to the game. I mean, on the one hand, I totally applaud them for making the decision to do that. I think it's kind of odd that they were like 2 months from a release and they made that decision that they needed like another month.
Yeah.
But more power to them. I would, again, much rather companies delay stuff than release products that could have used more quality control. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Also,
I would
this means that it's not competing with Animal Crossing for a release date.
Yeah.
So there we
That is
go.
true.
Josh York no longer has an excuse not to play Animal Crossing.
uh...
So, next up, once again, Sony has announced it will not be making an appearance at E3 this year. So, I mean, for Nintendo fans, you might be saying, what's the big deal? But this is kind of a pattern now that
yeah.
I think it's basically still a lot of people are expecting Sony being kind of the big contender and being the primary force in console gaming to show up at this sort of developer conference.
This gaming developer conference?
But, I mean, the fact that Sony doesn't do it anymore, Nintendo doesn't do it anymore, like, I mean, what I also don't know is if Sony's just not being there at all, or if they're going to be like Nintendo, where they still have, like, a show floor, they're just not presenting anything at E3.
Yeah.
My guess would be that, because last year I don't think they showed up at all, so I think that might be the case this year again.
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah. Again, which further makes me wonder, do we still need E3? You know?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have two of the three biggest, gaming devs, is it really an E3 anymore?
Yeah. So yeah. And the fact that, like, a lot of the presentations are just awful. Like, the PC gaming one is traditionally, like, pretty bad. And just, like, boring. It's usually, like, two engineers get up there and talk about, like, something super technical that, like, most of the crowd doesn't really care about.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, and here's Ninja! And then, everybody's just like, why?
Yeah.
So, although, who knows? Maybe we'll get Keanu Reeves again. Probably one of the better moments of E3 2019.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Then, Smash Brothers, the 5th Fighter DLC will be revealed tomorrow. So that would have been great. That would have been a great topic to talk about. But they're revealing it at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time. So.
Oh, so you don't. This is not a. This is who it will be.
Like, yes, they are revealing who the 5th Fighter is for Season Pass 1 tomorrow morning.
Okay, I'm like, but they're still not going to be out for a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or they might be. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how far along in development they are.
Yeah.
So.
I'm like, because I know that we knew about, like, the first couple, like, a while before they came. So, at least the first one I knew that they knew for a while.
Yeah. I mean, Banjo was revealed at E3. Banjo and Hero were revealed at E3.
Yeah.
Hero came out like a month later, and Banjo came out like 3 months later. Terry was announced kind of late summer, early fall, and he came out in like November.
Yeah.
So we can expect probably like March, I think.
Yeah.
Like maybe late.
I think.
Or no, yeah, March. I would expect based on that.
Yeah.
Turnaround time. But, Courtney, any thoughts as to who it might be?
I have no idea. Because Smash pulls from so many different places, like, I have no idea who it could be. Do you have a
who would you want it to be? This is the time. This is the last chance to make a wild prediction.
See, I want them
Even
to.
though podcast listeners, it will probably be revealed by the time you listen to this.
Um, I personally think that it would be fun if they released Waluigi.
No. Waluigi does not deserve to after the rabid fan base sending death threats to Sakurai. No. Waluigi should get thrown to the bottom of the bin after that. Also, they have said that it would not be any sort of in-house Nintendo characters.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's going to all be third party.
Ooh. Trying to think that.
So while you're thinking, my vote, and I've this is not an original idea that I've seen thrown about, but that it could be Dante from Devil May Cry.
Okay. Yeah.
Since that was a recent thing. I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, because Witcher is too soon having come out.
Actually, I mean, Geralt would be interesting.
That would be really fun.
Geralt would be pretty interesting.
So
there we go. There we go. Geralt or Dante. There we go. Yeah. I know I've seen other folks say maybe like Rayman, Crash, Spyro.
Rayman would be super fun. I just think about his.
Yeah, we don't really have an Ubisoft representation. A Rabid would be another choice that could work, I think. But yeah, I mean, basically the door's wide open at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, so we'll Geralt or Dante. There we go. So
we will find out tomorrow morning.
We'll find out 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So, and then last up in the sort of quickfire news, so Hero Forge, you might know them if you play tabletop RPGs and have used their custom mini creation service, launched a Kickstarter yesterday to do, like, they call it
January
Hero Forge
14th.
Hero Forge 2.0, which is basically they're adding color printing capabilities so that you will be, for an upcharge, you will be able to add color to your minis. So that way you won't have to paint them yourself for a, we'll call it, quote unquote, modest upcharge of about $10.
No, that's
the premium plastic minis are $30. The color minis are $40.
Yeah.
So it's an upcharge. It's a relatively modest upcharge of $10. You can get it in full color, or for $150, you can get premium plastic hand painted by a professional miniature artist. That I think they're licensing out a studio to work on their stuff. Yeah.
See, I have never painted minis. I think that I would be terrible at it. But I know that something that's enjoyable is painting them. Like, that's like, I'm going to take this Saturday afternoon and paint one of my minis. Like, so
see, now this is the thing where this is actually kind of appealing to me because I don't have time. I don't have the resources to paint a mini. And I mean, it would be a different case where if I played normal characters, but like it is impossible to find lizard folk minis.
Oh yeah, no, I completely, yes.
So there you go. But yeah, I'd imagine this would be kind of useful for, say, a lot of the Jamora characters, because like it's also really difficult to find Warforged minis.
Yep.
Aasimar, kind of difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, also big hammer wielding paladins is kind of difficult. There's a lot of like big sword and shield ones.
Yeah, but a hammer wielder is
Yours is probably the easiest character because like Wood Elf Rogue is kind of an archetype, or just Elf Rogue is an archetype that's easy to find.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But again, like, so I backed this.
Nice.
And within 24 hours, they are now up to 1.3 million.
Yeah.
So they're over 2,000% funded.
Yeah. I will say this though. One of our friends, their partner's father paints minis professionally, and they charge like $80 a piece. So like this definitely is a cheaper option. Like
I would say I would actually say it's about comparable in price.
Yeah.
Because this is you're getting the mini produced.
Yep.
And painted as part of that.
Yeah, and it is again a custom mini.
So like you're basically paying like a $40 kind of upcharge for them to take care of the whole process for you.
Yeah.
Of production and then painting and stuff.
I mean, because we've gotten Hero Forge minis before. And
yeah, so I hope that the premium plastic, they've definitely upgraded the quality, because
yeah,
I've had every single mini that I've purchased from Hero Forge is broken.
Yeah.
Now,
and
granted,
you're not that rough on your minis either.
Now, yeah, so some of them it was like breaking in transit when it was in a box. Other times it got hit with dice, and then broke. So that was before everybody started bringing dice trays to game, and everybody was rolling on the table.
Yeah.
Which turned into a nightmare. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm willing to give it another shot. Just to see, because it has been a while, so I don't know if they've upgraded their plastic quality. But yeah, I'm at least willing to try it out. So
I am looking forward to doing what I've done in the past, because it looks like, actually, from what I was seeing on the Kickstarter, this is gonna be a separate builder, basically. So you'll have to get like a pass to be able to do the color.
Yeah,
I think seeing that correctly.
So I believe it's going to be a separate builder, but you'll be able to import all of your existing characters into it.
Yeah.
You will not have to rebuild your characters from scratch.
Yeah, so I saw that like it's going to be something that's like, again, like separate, but and you'll have to pay to even get the access to the color builder. If I was reading the Kickstarter correctly.
Yeah. I did see something like that.
Yeah, so I personally won't probably be... I might look into getting one done, but they said something like a subscription for a year of access to it, and I don't see myself getting enough minis and playing enough that getting a subscription for a minis maker would be worth it for me.
To get early access to new color tools.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's that...
I'm not seeing...
I might have been reading it wrong.
I'm also not... I think it's just going to be an update.
Yeah.
I also don't think that
if that's the case, that would be great, because
I think what you might be thinking of is the tokens.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a separate thing.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just, if you want color, you just pay more.
Okay. Yeah, because I would use that the way that I've used Hero Forge in the past, which is to be able to visualize my character better, and to really make them come alive a little bit more.
Yeah, so there's extra features that are token maker and portrait studio and stuff that will be considered quote unquote pro tools that will require a subscription cost.
Yeah. again, that's the subscription stuff I'm not interested in.
Yeah, but that's so the token makers are for people that do online play. That's what
Okay.
that's for.
Okay.
But I mean, you could do. I mean, here's the thing: is for somebody that uses Photoshop on a regular basis, like, I mean, that's all that's doing is it's allowing people that don't really have Photoshop experience to go in and use a bunch of presets to generate sets of tokens.
Yeah.
Or to do like top-down views of your mini.
Okay.
These are things that I can do myself in Photoshop and have done before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But for folks, I mean, that,
for folks like me that
Yeah.
don't have that and don't, I don't have any real minor experience in Photoshop.
Yeah.
And so for people that would be useful for, like, I think that this is great. I think that it's even a natural progression for Hero Forge to start bringing out color in their minis. So,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be cool. And they're looking at like March for some of them. But
Yeah,
I think
so
that I think that timeline might be a little bit delayed.
I don't know. I mean, estimated delivery so a lot of the March ones are like print files to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Or like token access. Whereas the ones that are for June,
more of the digital stuff.
Yeah, the ones that are for June are where you're actually like buying a mini. Yeah. Yeah, the March stuff is like digital rewards that don't actually require any sort of fulfillment on their part.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has 29 days to go. So let's see if this is another like smash success, almost like the Critical Role Kickstarter. Yeah. Estimated delivery for the mini rewards is June 2020. So a good 6 months.
Yeah. That's one of the better Kickstarters that I've seen. So for turnaround time.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of the existing tools will be available in that. So Hero Forge adds options every week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of customization that you can add to a character in there. So that wraps up quickfire news. So we've got 3 basically major topics. The first one, since it's not D&D related, we'll go into that. Pokemon Sword and Shield has had a Pokemon Direct, where they talked about paid DLC.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mixed feelings about it.
That's what I have been seeing as well.
Yeah, I certainly have mixed feelings where I'm glad that it's not, hey, we're holding on to this to then release another $60 game.
Yes.
But by the same token, the argument for not including more Pokemon was like a myriad of reasons. And there's basically like another 200 Pokemon in this DLC.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that's a lot of...
So this is a case where, I mean, I feel like if they had held off on releasing Pokemon for another year, that this would have been better. I mean, obviously, like, so there's nothing we can do about it now, right?
Yeah.
But I would think going forward is a better plan would have been to take the extra time, add this content into the game, and then package that as the $60, thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is also, maybe Game Freak's margins are much thinner than people think, and they need to charge for this DLC. I don't know. It just, the price tag seems a bit high.
$30 for
$30 for it's $30 for basically like 2 new areas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, mind you, to put this into comparison, like a Warcraft expansion is like $40.
Yeah.
Is like 40 to is about $40.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it. And there's kind of a lot more gameplay in a Warcraft expansion than there is in this Pokemon DLC, I'd wager.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I don't know. I feel like if it was $20, much more enticing.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking about this with the Smash Brothers DLC. Like, you can get those individually for like $6 each.
Yeah, or you can pay the $20 for all 5.
Yeah, I think if you pre-order, I think that it should be like 25. Or even 20. But
but this is also, they call it a season pass, but I don't think you can get the 2 separate pieces individually. So it's basically one DLC package.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Now, if it's actually a season pass and it's $30 and there's a whole slew of content updates, then it becomes a much more attractive option. But anyway, we should probably get into what's covered in the DLC, since we're talking about how the price... Since I feel like the price is a little overpriced for what it is. Granted, I paid it, which is part of the problem, but it's... We'll get into... For Questlog, I have something that we'll talk about that I would love to see as a competitor to Pokemon really take off and force Pokemon to start perhaps revising its business practices a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to get Isle of Armor in summer, I believe. In June? Yeah.
June.
Where it's basically a new area. The hope is that it's maybe like an entire wild area island. That also has a dojo, and there's a new legendary Pokemon that's like a fighting type bear that you get just when you show up to the dojo. And the dojo is kind of just like another gym system where you're fighting other people that are aspiring to be gym leaders. And will include a bunch of other Pokemon. Not previously seen in the Galar region.
Yes. And then the second one, which will be coming in Q3, so sometime this fall, is going to be the Crown Tundra. So that's going to be a snowy realm area, and there are going to be a lot of smaller communities and towns and things like that.
Yep. Also, as part of this DLC, they're going to introduce, like, basically dungeons? Like, we're going to go inside Pokemon dens, and inside there, it's going to be co-op.
Yeah.
Which, that's... I like. I like that concept. I wish they would explore it further.
Yeah.
But yeah. So all in all, like,
and there will
don't get me wrong.
There also will be game exclusives, similar to how there is now between Sword and Shield. There will continue to be more game exclusive Pokemon in these updates and in these in this pass.
Also, they're going to be re-releasing legendary Pokemon as part of this DLC.
Yes.
So, one thing that is nice is once the DLC comes out, players that do not have the DLC will be able to trade to get the Pokemon that's in the DLC. Or if they have Pokemon Home, they'll be able to transfer it from past games into Sword and Shield.
Oh, that's what that meant. Okay.
Yeah, so and that's why people are claiming. So people are claiming that the new Pokemon are basically being gated by a paywall. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I would say that would be the case if you had to have the DLC in order to get the new Pokemon.
Yes.
But most people were going to pick up Pokemon Home anyways if that was going to be the only way you could trade Pokemon to newer games. And if you were going to pay for it anyways, then it's not really
that big of a deal.
Genuine criticism to call it a paywall.
Yeah. I think the reason why it really isn't a paywall is because you can trade, and there are tons of communities out there online where you can find people and say, hey, I'm looking for,
Well, here's the thing, is that when Pokemon Home comes out, I imagine that that's going to be the preferred method for trading, because trading in-game is kind of a nightmare right now if you're looking to trade with a specific person. And I know Driz in the chat can back me up on this, given how we have to set up some kind of ludicrous code that still then takes like forever to find each other. Like,
oh, right, because you and I have done local.
I do not understand how they could have messed up trading that badly in the game.
I was like, we didn't have that big of an issue. Yeah, because we did local.
Trading was better in X and Y, where you registered people to your friends list, and then all you had to do was tap on them to trade with them, to set up a trade. So yeah, I would imagine that Pokemon Home is going to be the preferred method for trading. Since that's the point. So, yeah.
Did you go and get your Slowpoke yet?
I have not gotten the Slowpoke yet. I have not. I haven't really played all that much of Sword and Shield. Outside of just still trying to catch Gigantamax Flapple and failing at it.
Yeah.
Just not finding it whatsoever.
Yeah, because now...
So I did pick up the DLC. I did get the Pikachu and Eevee uniforms. And that was about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now, even if you don't get the expansion passes, you are able to get a exclusive Slowpoke. If you've updated your game recently, it's probably done its auto update anyway. It's pretty. It's what I got. It's got like gold on like the top of its head and along its back. But it's standard Slowpoke. It's like level. There's a 2 in it. I can't remember if it's like 12 or 20.
It's fine.
Or
the level doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The level doesn't matter because
no, it doesn't.
Especially since I'm just gonna breed it so that I have enough to get Slowpoke, Slowbro, and Slowking.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's really easy in game to get. They are very obvious about, hey, have you heard about this happening at every single Stop.
Okay.
Until you go and check it out and get the Slowpoke, every time you heal your Pokemon, they'll say, oh, have you heard there's this weird Pokemon like over at this station?
Oh, that's why I haven't been to a Pokemon Center, because I don't have to, because your Pokemon are healed pretty much after... Well, so my Pokemon are healed after I do a max raid battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't get hurt in max raid battles. So there's that. But yeah, so that's the DLC. It's available for pre-order now.
Yeah. I'm just glad that it isn't a Sword and Shield Ultra.
Yeah, so to be clear, I do like the concept of DLC and them providing more content to the base game instead of just like, yeah, we're just gonna save everything for, next year or the year after and then release like the same game with more content for full price.
Yeah.
I would much rather have them do a DLC model. I just think it might have been a little overpriced for what they're offering. Unless, of course, they're going to continue offering more content as part of this DLC package in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, because as you
I
said,
don't-
it is a
I'm sorry.
season pass.
I think Yacht Club has totally just spoiled me on DLC and free updates and stuff like that, because I think Yacht Club Games is probably the best developer in games right now. Because they have given so much content.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Like, that's why people are willing to buy Shovel Knight like on 4 different platforms. Because when you buy it on 4 different platforms, you also get like 8 games for it each.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, the treasure trove is like $25, and you get Shovel Knight, you get Plague of Shadows, you get Spectre of Torment, you get King of Cards, you get Showdown, and there's like one other thing that you get.
Mm-hmm.
Which
that is a lot.
And each of those games is easily worth $25.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So that's coming. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as part of that, we're gonna get Gigantamax Blastoise and Gigantamax Venusaur.
Yes, that's gonna be cool. I will say that.
Also, Gigantamax starters, which should have been a thing in the game in the first place. I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, there was no reason for the starters not to have Gigantamax forms. Like, they're the starters.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
So, yeah. All right. Now to get into the D&D news.
Yes.
So, first up, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount was So, I kind of wish that Wizards, like, didn't mention that there was going to be a book announcement last Thursday and then say, you know, like, because they kind of did it as a surprise, like, hey, we're going to announce a new book on Thursday. And then they were like, oh, sorry, we have to wait a little bit. There's some stuff that's still refining and everything. We're going to push it back to Monday. I kind of wish they hadn't have done that. And then just, like, on whatever date, just say, hey, guess what? This book's coming. So
not given the announcement and just been like, hey, guys, here's this.
Yeah, because all it did was get people to thinking of what it could be.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody saw that it was going to be basically in the style of Ac Inc. is a Wizards, essentially officially licensed third-party campaign setting.
Yeah.
So we've gotten this with Acquisitions Incorporated, we've gotten this with Rick and Morty, and now we have it with Critical Role for Wildemount specifically. So to be clear, since a lot of folks don't understand this, Wizards did not write this book. Wizards is publishing it. All they devoted resources for was for some play testing and some editing and the publishing support.
Yeah.
The book was developed, to use the publisher-developer analogy. The developers of this book were the Critical Role team and people that Matt had put together. There were some folks from D&D Beyond, some folks from Critical Role, and they pulled in community artists.
Yeah.
They worked with Wizards to ensure that they could get Critical Role. They could get people from the Critter community to send in their artwork for this book, and to make sure that they were properly paid and everything.
Yeah.
Then Wizards, as the publisher, sort of basically lends their marketing support and their publishing support to actually get a physical book out. That way, people will actually know about the book, which is, you know, a lot of folks don't know that there is a sort of Tales of Exandria book out for Campaign 1, which is published by Green Ronin, I think.
I'm not sure.
And I don't know. I keep hearing like it's out of print, or it's not out of print, or you can get it on Amazon, or you can't get it on Amazon, and stuff like that. This ensures that like you will be able to buy it. It will have marketing support. You'll know where to find it. And if it's anything like the Ac Inc. book, it also means that this doesn't impact the production schedule for all of the other books that are scheduled to come out. So you can have all your I'm not salty about the treatment that Matt Mercer received at all online.
No,
there are a lot
not
of
at
folks
all. When the man has to apologize for doing this.
Yeah, he apparently felt the need to apologize in advance, based on. So once again, Amazon leaked it and Barnes and Noble leaked it ahead of time, and folks came out in droves to voice their disappointment over the fact that it wasn't Dark Sun or Spelljammer or Planescape, which I have very vocal. I have very vocal opinions on them, and you know what? I'm going to voice them here. I voiced them on Facebook and got into a heated argument and had to walk away from the argument so that I didn't start shouting.
I saw that.
But I'm going to voice my opinion here.
Yes.
I think D&D has a problem with established settings that a vocal minority really enjoyed 30 years ago. That did not make the cut in terms of funding.
Yep.
And thus, I mean, maybe enough times passed that Wizards could reintroduce them and they could be profitable. But, like, there's a reason why Wizards hasn't revisited those settings in 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to repeat that number quite often.
Yes.
People, like, I would love to see Dragonlance as a setting. Dragonlance is a licensing nightmare. Dragonlance, the license for Dragonlance is split between several companies. So, like, it's kind of in like, for 3rd edition, Wizards did not even publish Dragonlance books. They were all done by third parties. So, I know, and, like, a lot of the other stuff, like, you haven't even seen any content, since 2nd edition. And the thing is, like, so the issue is, like, with Planescape, for instance, Planescape is basically Sigil, which is the official pronunciation of the city. It's spelled Sigil, but it is officially Sigil, which is just a running gag. I feel like if they wanted to do this, like a campaign book similar to, like, Ghosts of Saltmarsh or Descent into Avernus would work best. Because at the end of the day, it may be, like, the most important city in planar culture, but it's a single city.
Yeah.
It would be like if Wizards decided to publish an entire book, like an entire campaign book about Sharn, or about Baldur's Gate, or about Neverwinter.
Okay.
Right? And detailing all the various factions and everything.
Yep.
I feel like it's just too small of a scope. And the problem is with Planescape, when you start to, expand it further out, then it just becomes Manual of the Planes. Because it's basically extraplanar adventures.
Yeah.
Now if they wanted to do an adventure book, like Curse of Strahd, or again, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, which, by the way, is a Greyhawk book. That's basically where your Greyhawk exists. I feel like that would probably be the best method. It would also end up probably being something that I wouldn't pick up. Planar adventures get weird.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Also, it's just I personally would like to see, but I also think it would be smart for Wizards to look at campaign settings that aren't just Eurocentric fantasy, like high fantasy, and that's kind of the problem that a lot of those fall into, like Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance. Birthright, Mystara.
So do you want, like, more different types of settings?
So I think a campaign setting works best when it feels really distinct from other campaign settings.
Okay.
So I mean, out of all the quote unquote traditional legacy campaign settings, Dark Sun is one that stands out, and I know seems to be really popular. I would imagine Dark Sun is coming. Wizards just has to figure out what they're going to do with psionics first. And we're not going to see it until Wizards figures out psionics, because that's an inherent part of the setting. Granted, we got Eberron without psionics, but I feel like there was enough pressure for the Artificer and for Warforged to warrant that. So Dark Sun is basically D&D's sort of post-apocalyptic setting.
Okay.
Where divine magic doesn't exist. The world suffered an ecological disaster, which I feel like would be timely in this day and age, but most people wouldn't get the point. Sorry. I'm really salty about a lot of this stuff right now.
Yeah, dude, you're worse than the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, right? But
I'm probably
but
also
okay.
worse than the Red Sea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where using arcane magic kills the environment.
Yeah.
Like all forms of arcane magic. So the idea is basically to say spellcaster bad.
Yeah.
So Dark Sun's an example. I actually think Ravnica was a pretty good choice because it focuses on the 12 guilds, and where the guilds is a very inherent part of your identity. Unfortunately, I don't think they did enough with like the colors of magic, where that could have really pushed it in its own unique direction, or with planeswalking kind of a thing. Eberron's tech level is what sets it apart, and kind of the tone, where it's more noir, it's more sort of nuanced. It's not good versus evil. There are all sorts of shades of gray. But it's also in a very sort of Magitech, arcane, steampunk type setting, to let you do sort of pulp fantasy adventure, which is kind of different than just high fantasy.
Oh, yes.
And so one of the things that I'm curious, the third-party books are a little unusual, in that, like, they kind of betray that, where they're very high fantasy kind of a thing. One of the things that I'll want to see is, if I could see basically this war being front and center, and I believe that's the case, of the war between the Kryn Empire and the Kryn Dynasty and the Dwendalian Empire being the forefront of this book. And so I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of sort of espionage as part of it, or
spy
essentially rules for perhaps doing full-scale battle. I know Matt has rules for vestiges, and for like heroic legacy as part of the book, as well as Dunamancy will be fully fleshed out in this book.
Yeah, that's
and so the way it works is
I'm excited about.
Is it's not going to be a school of magic, it is going to be a type of magic. So similar to almost like a subtype of arcane, divine, whatever. Almost like psionics, where Dunamancy is spells, or is a concept of spells that control sort of time, space, and fate.
Yeah.
Or if you want to call it probability. So it's almost math magic, if you will, since it gets into very physics and sort of quantum physics. And so I could see those becoming a central element. I mean, Acquisitions Inc., the main crux of that is it's basically The Office for fantasy. So like that's a very specific tone that sets it apart from something else.
Yes, and I do agree with you, Sean. I am still kind of newer, but I get excited for all of these different expansions that come out, and I mean, I have dice tattooed on my body. I'm not going anywhere with this D&D stuff. I'm in this.
And here's the thing: Wizards was reluctant to start releasing campaign settings.
Yeah.
Is like they didn't want to for the longest time, and it wasn't until there was pressure, all sorts of pressure from the community, to even just get Eberron. And even then, I believe we got Ravnica before we got Eberron.
I don't know. My first campaign was a Eberron campaign.
Yeah. I just mean in terms of 5th edition, Wizards has been really hesitant because every time you start trying to publish more and more content to support different campaign settings is you're splitting your audience.
Yeah.
Right? And Wizards really wanted to focus everybody into Forgotten Realms.
Yep.
As a way to kind of control the feed for what people are buying. Right? Because now suddenly, let's say that Wizards wants to fully support Eberron and Ravnica as much as Forgotten Realms. Now, instead of fully putting resources toward one
just
singular
that
campaign setting, now they have it split equally between 3.
Yeah.
And every time you add a new one, it splits it even further. I'm also, like, I don't know. I guess if most of the people that want a 5th edition version of these older campaign settings have previous editions, have the books from previous editions.
And they've
really
already modified it to fit.
The only thing that's different is, like, the lore isn't going to be different.
Yeah.
Because the time when lore was different was 4th edition, and nobody bothered. Like, sales numbers say nobody bothered buying it. And so they, like, reset everything for 5th edition so that everything's, like, quote unquote fixed again. But basically, like, for example, I could have used, aside from actual crunch material, which is classes, subclasses, feats, spells, stuff that actually deals with game mechanics, like, that's where you actually need a rule book for.
Yeah.
If all you want is, like, the fluff of it, then you don't need a new book to tell you the fluff.
Yeah,
if it's going to be the same as a book from 30 years ago.
Yeah. If you want the same story, the story isn't going to change. It's the nitty-gritty, it's the math, it's the, how does this work? But again, my thought is, if it's a game from 30 years ago and it's, stuff like that, and people are trying to and want to be playing in that setting, they will have already, either they're still just playing in that setting with those with that edition's rule set, or they've modified it to fit 5e.
Yeah. And as Driz has pointed out, we've gotten, so basically, like, the big things are monsters and villains that are setting specific. Yep. However, we also have books, like, extra, basically, like, side manuals. So Volo's Mordenkainen's, like, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Mordenkainen's Guide to Foes, or whatever it's called. That often will take iconic monsters from these other settings and include them as part of that. Like, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, like, is, like, there's a huge chunk of it that's about the Blood War. Yeah. Which is, like, a big planner thing. So, like, you don't really need, like, we got one. Like, Descent into Avernus is kind of Blood War light, but, like, we don't need a campaign setting for the Blood War. Because basically we have existing other stuff that can be adapted for that. So, yeah. I mean, it's basically things that you would need, stuff that has rules attached to it. So, like, out of all of the older ones, the only one I can really think of that actually had mechanics that are distinct to that setting would be Dark Sun.
Yeah.
That, with a caveat, that haven't already been done or are being done.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, to give you an idea, Planescape didn't. Like, the only thing was races, but it was Tieflings, Aasimar, Ganassi, which we've already gotten.
Yep.
Let's see. Spelljammer is more equipment, where it's spelljamming helms and ships. The rest of it is just, I mean, Spelljammers are basically airships that fly between what are known as crystal spheres, which is basically every material plane sits in a crystal sphere, and in between all the crystal spheres is phlogiston, which is basically like a sort of it's basically oxygen, but it's like thicker than normal oxygen. It's just a highly explosive gas.
Okay.
It's like if it's like aerosolized gasoline.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's it. That's the setting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the big things from that would be rules for basically spelljammers and airships.
Yep.
And Gith. Sorry. We already have Gith. GIF. So, GIFF as opposed to GITH. Which we have gotten...
Huh?
So Gith are split between the Githyanki and Githzeri, which are sort of human descendants that were enslaved by mind flayers and then rebelled against them and developed psychic abilities.
Oh.
Githyanki are have taken to like astral piracy, and Githzeri turned to sort of living in the plane of pandemonium, trying to stabilize it using their psychic powers as monks, as reclusive monks.
Okay.
GIF are basically imperialist Britain hippo people. That would be the big thing to come out of Spelljammer. But like we already have spelljamming helms. We already have spelljammers in the game, kind of a thing. So, just say GIF are the hunter guy from Jumanji.
Got it.
And kind of, yeah. It's they are basically a, and it's another weird thing where like race and culture are the same, which is a problem that D&D has. But it's as a culture, their family units are mercenary corps that are built off of like British special forces in the Victorian era.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all have military titles and ranks, and they take on contracts. They don't break contracts. They fulfill their contracts. Super lawful. Yeah. So.
Kind of reminds me of, if you were to flash it forward to sci-fi, is those rhino people in the Martha pilot that are like soldiers that are looking for this one person, and they're not going to hurt anybody else. They're just looking for this one like thing.
Are you talking about Doctor Who?
Whole, like, yeah, in Doctor Who. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that I guess. I don't recall, but yeah, they're big hippo people. They wield black powder gun weaponry.
Nice.
A lot of stuff that goes boom. So
yeah,
and they're like slightly damage resistant, so they don't care about things that go boom as much. So yeah. But yeah, so the weird thing was Spelljammer was often used as like an add-on to existing settings. Because the idea is Spelljammer is kind of the setting between settings. Because like Spelljammer is basically D&D in space.
Okay.
Without using space. It was magic space.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I would rather see is like wizards to pick up like dark matter or something that is like, well, let's take it even further and make it actual futuristic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Like make it distinct. You know, laser weaponry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like energy weapons and spaceships as opposed to, you know, Spelljammer itself kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, each crystal sphere is a solar system containing a different campaign setting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's in Spelljammer is basically how you get characters from different campaign settings to come together.
Mm-hmm.
Except Ravenloft. Ravenloft is special. Which even then, Ravenloft was another fan favorite. We got Curse of Strahd, and that's basically how Ravenloft's been done in 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Because kind of Barovia was like the main focus for like. There's more to Ravenloft than Barovia, but like that's what everybody kind of thinks of when they think of Ravenloft, and so that's where Wizards put their resources.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm really, really saddened to see how much hate this has been getting. Because and I've seen a lot of people being like really mad at the Critical Role team for,
Yeah. And
doing that
here's the
stuff. And
part.
I'm like, I'm
Here's the part
sorry,
that's
but
bull. Is
yeah.
this is literally an analogous product to Acquisitions Incorporated, and
Yep.
this is getting 10 times the amount of vitriol.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
Simply because Critical Role's popular.
And this is something that's like really, really bothering me because like I I'm able now to be running a D&D campaign at my internship at a clinic for, I'm helping people work through stuff through role playing. Like, this is where we wanted this to be. We are out of the basement. We are at the kitchen table. We are playing as, this is a fun, full family adventure.
Yeah.
And I don't care if they have, the Rick and Morty stuff. I don't care if there's the, Critical Role stuff. I don't care about Acquisitions Inc. Like, I care about it, but in the flack that it's getting, this is legitimately what they wanted 30 years ago, was for this to be popular.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing, right? Is let's be real. Legacy campaign settings aren't exactly like, and even then, what is drawing people in, there was a poll done. Now I can't speak to the sort of methodology of the poll. Yeah. There might have been a bias in it or whatever, but there was a poll done of 1,500 people on what got them into D&D, and it was 40% of the people polled, it was Critical Role got them into playing D&D.
Yeah.
So if Wizards wants to do a partnership with the Critical Role team to essentially give them a license to officially publish their Campaign 2 setting under the Wizards license, I think, and especially given that they have a great relationship with said team, that I think is also something that people are underestimating. Since that was the entire reason why the Penny Arcade team was able to publish their thing. And likely why the Rick and Morty team, because, Pat Rothfuss was like writing the comic book as well.
Yeah.
Is, the fact that they have these close relationships, and, it's a way to reward them, basically. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would love for them to let if Mark Hulmes was inclined to do up a hardcover Erois book.
Yes, please.
For them to publish that too.
Yes, please.
I
would love that. I would love that so much.
Right? Because that's another setting
just
that
got shivers from one end of my body to the other.
That is another setting that is like kind of distinct, because it basically focuses on this dichotomy between people that live in the sky on sky islands and traverse on airships, and the common folk that are forced to live on the ground.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting take.
Yep.
But anyway, off on that wild tangent on why, basically people that have been around for a while that aren't enthusiastic about this book are afraid, have this unfounded fear. Yeah, I'm going to say it's unfounded. That because Wizards is doing this, now all of a sudden every product is going to be catering to Critical Role.
And that's not it at all.
When
They did the
newsflash, everybody, I'm going to get angry for a moment here.
Yep.
Newsflash.
Salty.
How many products have we had for Acquisitions Incorporated, or Rick and Morty, or Stranger Things out since those books appeared? 0. You want to know why? Was because Wizards didn't write it! Wizards published it, and it was a third-party team.
Yep.
So, also, don't use this as an excuse to be a douchebag and gatekeep people from it. Okay, don't be that one guy on Twitter that's now universally hated.
Well, that's where I was kind of getting, is like, this has been something that has been wanted. I mean, since the freaking satanic panic and everybody's parents burned their kids' D&D books, like, and booklets and everything else, like, we have wanted this to be mainstream. We have wanted this to be at this level.
Yeah, and heaven forbid
hold up.
Everybody
who is gatekeeping right now is basically pulling the D-bag line of, oh, well, I liked it before it was cool. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. What matters is that people are finding it, people are playing it, people are enjoying it. I don't care how, and Critical Role has been getting a lot of flack lately, especially after the Wendy's one-shot that they did. And it's like, dude, I don't care. Just give me games. Let me play. Give me fun, pun-filled settings, and give me all of this tabletop role playing, because that is literally my lifeblood right now.
Yeah, and especially in an area like where we live in Berkshire County, where even with how mainstream D&D's become, it's still impossible to find, a set group of people to play with on a regular basis.
Oh, absolutely. But
so,
I mean, you're people who are pulling the people who are gatekeeping are saying that they never wanted to leave the basement. They never wanted to be able to find dice at their local GameStop. Like, I know for a fact that our local GameStop has sets of D&D dice right now.
Yeah.
And
it's also
sporadically. I mean,
I feel like a lot of the issue is that folks who engage in this behavior are ones that had a problem with one particular person and now treat everybody that has some characteristic that matches that person all the same, and thus engages in a stereotype, basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went off on a wild tangent, but this book, anyway, to get back to the book itself.
Yeah.
To get back to the book itself, the book is going to detail the background of Wildemount, which is going to cover sort of the tension and the war between the dynasty and the empire. One thing it will not do is it will not basically be a book about the Mighty Nine, and will not follow the story of the Mighty Nine, so you don't have to worry about major spoilers. There will be some minor spoilers just related to the setting in general, but not related to the Mighty Nine in general. It's going to have 3 subclasses, 1 for fighters, 2 for wizards. The Graviturgist, or Graviturgist, the Chronergist are the wizard subclasses, basically Time Wizard and Gravity Wizard. And then the Echo Knight, which is fighters that have mastered the ability of probability and sort of failed timelines or shadow timelines, and they pull in themselves from those other timelines to fight opponents.
The coolest thing.
Yeah.
Guys, I cannot wait to see that actually used.
Yeah. There's going to be basically ways to come up with backgrounds to tie your character to the setting, which I think is cool. And there's going to be new vestiges that we haven't seen before. Matt said there's going to be a lot of vestiges that are related to not so nice deities this time, since a lot of the ones in Campaign 1 were related to good deities.
Yeah.
So we might get some not nice vestiges, as well as ways to come up with your own vestiges, I believe, and methods for like a heroic legacy, and for things to grow with a character, which was a concept that I think Wizards did in 4th edition Dark Sun, because they did with Dark Sun is like you don't get magic items, period. You rarely get anything.
I don't know. I skipped 4th. I went 3.5 and stopped.
Well,
it's
just
while, and then
Dark Sun in particular is magic is scarce, magic is rare, metal's rare. So like loot might be food and water.
Yeah,
like is probably the most valuable loot that you can get. More so water, because the entire setting is a desert. But which is a certain kind of gameplay, But yeah, so a lot of stuff jam-packed in there. Definitely stuff for people that are fans of Critical Role. There's going to be stuff for people that aren't fans of Critical Role. Like if you don't know anything about the setting or whatever, you might, let's say you want to play like a Final Fantasy game. Well, now you've got Time Wizard and, basically a mathematician class kind of a thing. Echo Knight, I'm sure, will appeal to a whole bunch of people. And then Vestiges, that's... also new spells. That's right. Dunamancy spells. So, and everybody loves new spells. So, that's coming out in March.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of wish Wizards didn't give us the lead up and just said, "Hey, guess what? This is coming out in March." And then everybody would lose their minds, and people that didn't like Critical Role wouldn't care. So yeah. Again. This does not impact the release schedule for the year. All right, and I'm going to repeat there one more time. It does not impact the release schedule for the year, according to Wizards and to Matt Mercer.
Because again, Wizards is publishing this.
Wizards is publishing it. They didn't develop it. Yeah. They have other stuff in the works.
Yes. They are working on their own things, and this is something that they are putting out into the world.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Yep. One of which being, we got Unearthed Arcana this week.
Yeah, we did.
This is the last bit of news. So this is new subclasses part 1 is what it's called. So this is going to be a multi-part series.
Yeah.
So we got Path of the Beast Barbarians. Basically, werewolf barbarians. It's you turn into a beast man, and can do cool stuff. This looks like a great subclass. It gives you a whole bunch of options. You can, grow different natural weapons, get different, basically other bestial features. They put a huge box as a rule tip that jumping costs movement because so many people are ignoring that. And no, it's very clear part of the rules. Jumping does cost your movement.
Yes, it does.
You can deal psychic damage or make people enraged. And you can grant your allies reckless attack.
That is so cool. I love that they also have a secondary big box of, remember, temporary hit points don't stack.
They've been putting that on every Unearthed Arcana that has temporary hit points.
Oh, okay.
That's just to remind people that, temp hit points don't stack. So, we've got Way of Mercy Monks, which is, you're basically a plague doctor, but a monk. So, it's you're healing people, but you're also punching them with poison. So, yeah. So it has things like you can expend a key point to restore hit points. If you use Flurry of Blows, you can replace one of your unarmed strikes with a use of this feature without spending its key cost. So that's interesting. Like a Noxious Aura. When you restore hit points to a creature using that feature, the healing feature, you can also remove a status effect. And other cool healing stuff like that.
And then at 11th level, you get that healing technique where you can use your key to heal and do increasing healing, which is cool.
You can also,
Hand of Mercy.
yeah, Hand of Mercy is basically putting somebody in stasis for a number of days.
Yeah,
equal to your monk level.
So it starts at 17 days because this is a 17th level feat, like thing that you get.
During that time, they're immune to damage, and it suspends any curse, disease, or poison. So this is a great way. Like, say, if you're playing Tomb of Annihilation, and they're gonna die, you can buy, like, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
You can buy them time.
Yep.
So, yeah. Also, they have a box that says, rule tip, you're a creature.
Yes.
which is just fine. Player characters are all creatures.
Yes. You're a humanoid. Most of them are humanoids. One of the game's types. You are a creature.
For paladins, we got Oath of the Watchers, which is you're basically like a witch hunter paladin.
Yeah.
This is you protect against extraplanar threats. So yeah, you're basically kind of like you protect people against like demons and devils and witchery and stuff like that.
This is something that I could actually see being used in a place even like Aroa, the high roller setting.
Yeah.
Because they have that the cradle that blocks the blocks extraplanar things.
Yeah.
And I could see this being a really nasty character, like a meanie, and taking anybody that is I can see this as like an NPC in that world. Or who knows how things are going. I can see it becoming an actual player.
I mean, this is more of this is more like a supernatural type thing of like the show.
So this is
you do not accept deals from demons and devil. Like you don't accept gifts or favors from fiends or those who or those who deal with fiends. You protect other people. You and you get bonuses to do that stuff. And it's basically against elementals, fae, fiends, or aberrations.
Okay.
So definitely, this would be great for like a Ravenloft game.
Ooh,
although it doesn't do anything against undead. That is of note. So that's something. So it's strictly extraplanar threats.
Yep.
So this is the theory is this is a big this would be a big Eberron related like it has a lot of subclasses that relate to Eberron. So this would be something of like to watch against like the Quarry or the Dalkir.
Yep.
Who are all like beings of madness and bad dreams and nightmares and stuff. So yeah. And then last up for the Warlock is the Noble Genie Patron.
Yeah.
So this is your patron is probably like a djinn or some kind of like at least willing to bargain a Freet or Dao or Merid that basically has sent you out into the world to collect creatures. You're a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
Except that you don't actually like you don't tame monsters basically. That would be something that would be super cool. But
this I think would be interesting because it's not only creatures, but it could also be knowledge and treasure.
Yes.
So like knowledge would be a really cool one to I think play around with.
It's mostly that the feature is the collector's vessel, which you use to tethered creatures.
Yep.
And so basically the tethered creature gets a whole bunch of benefits. It's basically like while tethered, you can treat the creature as basically a familiar.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's
like you get a bonus to perception, and when you cast a spell, you can treat the origin as the bound creature. And the tether can last up to 100 feet. So that's the thing, is like you could gain super range with a bunch of your spells.
Oh, yeah.
You could gain elemental resistance. You can protect the tethered creature. So if they would be hit by an attack, you can use a reaction to teleport and swap places with them.
Yep.
And take the hit for them.
Or the other way around.
Correct.
You know, if you've got something tethered that's pretty big.
Yeah, so if you tether, if you tether the tank,
yeah,
you can do that. Probably like the coolest sounding feature that may or may not be great, mechanically wise, is Genie's Entertainment, which is you basically banish a creature to your patron's court. And what it does is you draw the creature into the vessel, which is like a lamp or a statue or a bottle or a ring
with a compartment.
Basically things that hold genies.
Yes.
And what you do is you like suck them into it, and then it teleports them to the elemental plane. While there, the target's stunned. And your patron marvels at the target with amusement, but brings no harm to it. Basically, they just like study it, and they're like, this is interesting. The target can repeat its save at the end of each of its turns. If the target remains in your patron's court for 1 minute, it sends it back as if it's successfully saved, and you regain the use of this feature.
Yes, which is nice, because if you use it and it makes a save, then you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice like reset of it. I really like that feature.
Yeah. I think though that the likelihood in something
making it a minute.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it is charisma saves, which most things aren't good at them. But something failing 10 saves in a row is pretty unlikely.
Unlikely, but not impossible.
Yeah. So I think it might need a little tweaking, but I love the flavor of it.
Yeah.
Is that it's basically, you can even argue, like, maybe it's not even stunned, but like, what are they going to do? I guess what it's saying with that is like, if it has plane shift, it can't just plane shift back.
Yeah.
Which is relevant for some, creatures that the Backstreet Sharks have faced.
Yeah, it is.
So, and then basically you get to like make a wish as your sort of capstone patron ability. That can do things like cast legend lore, like curse somebody, restore hit points and saves and everything. But you can also like regain the use of the feature by sacrificing treasure to your patron, which is cool. It's also a weird thing in that the way it works is you make a persuasion check against your own spell save DC.
Ooh.
And if it works, you get to do the effect.
You get to do the thing.
Yeah. So if you're trained in persuasion, it's basically a straight D20 roll against a DC of 8.
Yeah.
Because it's the same charisma bonus and everything. So you have to roll an 8 or higher. If you have expertise in persuasion, then it becomes like trivial. So depending on what level you're at. But by the time you get that feature, you'll be +5. So you would need to roll a 3 or higher on the D20. So of note, persuasion is not a skill that is not a class skill for warlocks. So something to be of note for people that are interested in this subclass. I like it. I love warlock patrons that are a little offbeat. I love the idea of this, like, a genie has taken interest in you, and are collectors, and they send you out to collect things. It's great.
It's
like it sets it up that, like,
Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
Where, like, go get the magical thing, or go get the creature, or go get the artifact.
Yeah.
And I'll give you this power to do it.
Yeah.
I think.
Or let's say that they're not interested in treasure, but they're interested in creatures, and it's basically, it's a Professor Oak Ash Ketchum relationship.
Absolutely.
Or Professor whoever and protagonist relationship.
Yes.
It's specifically Oak Ash because he's out to, like, fill a Pokedex type thing.
Yep.
So it's great. I like it. I like the flavor. The mechanics might need some tweaking, but I mean, all in all, this was a great Unearthed Arcana.
But I mean, this is just play tested material, so this is kind of,
Yes. So if you think if you have specific criticisms, wait for the feedback to come back, and also make sure to fill out the survey for the last one as well, which was for I think fighters and druids or fighters and wizards and stuff. I
think so.
Oh, right, it was the psionics one. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I know people were opinionated about that, so make sure that you fill out the forms. So we talked a little bit long on that, so we're just going to talk real.
We got a little bit distracted.
So we're just going to go through real quick of what's going on this week in 8-Bit Adventures. The VOD for Dark Matter is up right now on YouTube, so go watch that. It's also available in podcast format. Merch store is online, and it works!
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Go buy merch, since everybody said that they wanted merch.
Yeah. I'm getting my Monty shirt on Saturday.
Yes.
Or, sorry, my Sir Muntz shirt.
Sir Muntz, yes.
Yes.
So, some of the stuff that we have up in the store is there's a Sir Muntz shirt. There is a character select shirt. There's a Speedy shirt. There's an 8-Bit Adventures hat. There's a poster. And stickers for 8-Bit Adventures and Tales of Jamora. If you have any ideas for other merch, you can contact me directly. Send me a DM. On Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Send me an email, Sean@8bitadventures.com. Love to make more merch for you. So yeah. And then as far as artwork this week, just a costume treatment for Iggy. Still, I had a really bad case of, like, artist block on Sunday and just could not get a comic out. So decided to do a costume treatment and just kind of get creative juices still working. So yeah. One thing for basically for the YouTube content, and this will be for Tales of Jamora, Dark Matter, maybe not so much with the podcast, but folks, if you would rather prefer a more edited version for YouTube that includes, like, an intro and credits and stuff like that, please let me know. Or if you would prefer just outputting the Twitch stream. I mean, obviously, doing editing work will require a lot more time, so just be cognizant of that. So, but yeah, that's it. So this week, 8-Bit Adventures draws. I'm just coloring more Chapter 1 comics tomorrow. So, I'll probably talk about my thoughts on the new DLC fighter reveal as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right. Now, we'll do a really quick quest log. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to go first this time. I've been playing Witcher 3. I've put 70 hours into Witcher 3. I'm going to toss a coin to my Witcher. And it's good. I can
Oh,
see
Valley of
why it won
Plenty.
so many awards. It's pretty good. Everyone should go play it. Wait for a Steam sale like I did, where it was $11. This is probably the most value I have gotten out of a game ever. So
Nice.
that's what I'm going to say about that. It's really good.
Good.
So yeah.
I'm
Courtney.
glad that you're enjoying it.
Courtney,
Yeah,
what have you
I've
been
been
up
doing.
to?
How is this that I've been playing more games than you have?
To be fair, I've been playing a lot of games. It's just I've been playing a lot of one game.
Yes.
I
Yes.
started playing like last week.
Yeah. So yeah, and you had a sick day too in all of that.
I actually
Ish.
didn't. I slept most of last Wednesday. I didn't
Ah,
do anything
fair.
because
I
I
also
was
slept most of last
yeah.
Wednesday because you were sick.
So
So,
yeah,
but yeah. So I have been getting some Stardew in. I finally finished the um bundle for the movie theater, so that is up and running. That's a
movie
fun
theater.
little
Jeez,
movie theater.
when I finish Witcher, I gotta get back into Stardew Valley.
Yeah, the old the so it triggers when it's the day before there's going to be a thunderstorm,
Yep.
or there's going to be storms. You get a little cutscene, and there's a Junimo in the abandoned Jojo Mart, and that you're able to fulfill it,
Yeah.
and then you can then it turns into a movie theater where you can buy tickets and you can go on dates with people, or you can go by yourself, and it's the same story, same movie, but it is cute. It's a 5-minute little extra thing, to be able to basically build relationships with more people.
It's an extra activity to go on dates.
Yes, it is.
So there you go.
Fair warning, if you want to go on a date with someone, you buy 2 tickets, like in the real world. Um, and you can only see 1 movie a day. But
With how
so
fast time passes in Stardew Valley, I can imagine you don't want to watch more than one movie in a day.
that's actually interesting because you don't actually lose too much time.
Do you lose approximately 2 hours of Stardew Valley time?
No. You
That
lose
is a lie,
approximately
then.
about an hour.
That's a bad movie, then.
I never said it was a good movie. I said
So.
it's the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been doing that, and fiddling around again with the new fish pond,
Yeah.
and things like that. And then I have been playing a lot of Shield, Pokemon Shield this week.
Yeah.
And so I have defeated all the way up to the ice gym. I just did that last night. The fairy gym was annoying, um, to
Yeah.
put it nicely.
Actually, it was easy for me because I had a Corviknight.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I laugh at your fairies. Ha ha.
I had a Corviknight too, and
Heavy slam.
Yeah. No, I find myself in this playthrough, in this Pokemon game, that I am actually paying attention to types and not just trying to just slam to win, basically.
Yeah.
I'm actually using um some more defensive stuff, or some like stun spores and things to like poison, but not do too much damage that first time, things like that.
I mean, the thing is with the story is you can pretty much get away with just like like picking a Pokemon that is resistant to the type that you're fighting against, that has a move that is super effective, and then just going ham. Like,
yeah, but I've been switching out my party
yeah,
a lot more than I used to. Um,
Oh, really?
and yeah, yeah.
Because I just stuck with basically the same crew the entire game.
No, I like to run more of a fire
Oh,
party
that's right. You
in
were running heavy
general.
fire. Yeah,
I run a heavy fire already, so I've been
that's right.
switching a lot
I ran
out.
heavy water and I didn't have any problems at all.
Yeah. But no, I'm really really enjoying it. I'm in this actual story. And I don't have that many badges left to go, so
Yeah, I mean the story's it's all right.
I really like it.
It's
So
you can tell that there was definitely some rushed aspects
yeah,
to this game, story wise.
yeah. But yeah. So I just got to I just got onto, and so I needs me a ponyta. I needs me a ponyta. I needs me a cotton candy ponyta.
Oh, well, I'll trade you a Ponyta.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you have the version where they actually appear and I don't.
Yeah.
But I have more
I would
Ponyta than you.
I would like to actually try and find one myself.
I can even give you a Rapidash too.
I want to level it myself. I just got the water bike, so now I can go out to the wild zone and get all evolution
Oh, there you
stone.
go. Yeah, you got to
So
go to that island and pick all the stones up. And just
yeah,
watch out
well,
because
hey,
those are real high level Pokemon there, so you got to watch out.
yeah, I did evolve Roxanne, my Growlithe. So she is now an Arcanine,
Okay.
and I still don't know what I want to do with my Eevee. I know I can't actually evolve Juniper because she was one of the starter ones. But
You mean the like special event Eevee?
yeah, the special event
Yeah.
one from having a Let's Go.
Your Gigantamax Eevee, let's put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, can't evolve it.
Can't evolve that one. But I do have another Eevee, and I got to figure out what I want to do with that, if I want to start my evolution party or not.
Pro tip is on that island with all the evolution stones, you can just catch high level evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually have to level up evolutions anymore.
Good to know.
Since they're also move relearners in every Pokemon Center.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs you nothing to relearn moves. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. That's something that I really like, actually.
Yeah, so there is literally no reason to even use the evolution stones unless you can't find one of those evolutions. But like, I would say there's no reason to try and evolve Espeon and Umbreon because you can just catch wild ones.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, or Sylveon really, since those three are a bit of a pain.
I was gonna say Sylveon is friendship, right?
So all three of them are friendship. Since they did away with affection, basically. It's Espeon requires high friendship during the day. Umbreon requires high friendship at night. Sylveon is high friendship and must know a fairy type move.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's something like that.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of camping. So.
Yeah.
I also have one bonus item that I referred to earlier in the podcast. So this wasn't something that I played. This is something that I watched somebody else play. And this is a game that was in closed alpha, but I watched a stream of kind of two, like, I would call them sort of up-and-coming, like, big-name YouTubers, JoeCat and Shenpai. You might know JoeCat as the maker of The Crap Guide to insert meme here.
Oh, yeah!
Yes. So,
yeah, I like him.
This game is called Temtem. Temtem is basically Pokemon. With quality of life adjustments. So unlike the newest Pokemon where it's kind of its style is more like Pokemon Let's Go, just in terms of like its overhead.
Okay.
And so you're looking at it from overhead. The art style is kind of more similar, like it's a cel-shaded art style. So it's
Okay.
more like Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker kind of art
Mhm.
style. But it's monster collection, monster battling. You can tell a lot of this stuff was inspired by Pokemon, just in terms of the battling, the trading, breeding, stuff like that. But with like significantly more quality of life type stuff, where it
Mhm.
explains more from the get-go, more stuff available to you visually on screen in the battle menus. Things like, oh, hey, so Game Freak decided to put a move relearner in every Pokemon Center. Yeah, we'll just let you swap out what skills you know on the fly. You never actually forget anything. Hey!
Whoa.
So, like, you never forget your skills, you just have, like, 4 equipable battle slots.
So that's like preparing spells, only it's
Yes.
preparing
Yeah.
preparing attacks.
Here's one thing further. They don't use power points. You essentially have a stamina bar. And all skills consume a different amount of stamina, and might also have a cooldown or something.
Mhm.
If you don't have enough stamina, you just consume hit points as well. And you regain you regain a set amount of stamina per turn, but like
Yep.
you can wait and not do anything to regain more stamina.
Okay.
So this also means that now suddenly, skills that you wouldn't think twice about circling out or like rotating out in Pokemon, like Tackle, Peck, Gust, now suddenly are super useful. Quick Attack,
sometimes.
So Quick Attack is unusual in that because it has priority. There are like Aqua Jet, for example, is just like a water type Quick Attack. Aqua Jet actually has use in competitive battles, or Bullet Seed and stuff like that. The issue is there is a 90 base power version of Quick Attack called Extreme Speed that like there's no reason to use Quick Attack because Extreme Speed exists.
Yeah.
In Temtem, your basic skills have a much lower stamina cost as opposed to your higher power skills, which have a higher stamina cost. So now suddenly there's a reason to keep around lower power skills in case like you need to finish off an enemy and you don't want to consume your own hit points to do so. You can also only exert yourself once, like every other turn.
To use your hit points instead
yes,
of...
which is what they call, consuming your hit points is overexertion. It is turn-based, yeah. And all battles are double battles.
Oh.
Also, it's an MMO.
What?
Yes.
But wait, there's more.
Temtem is doing everything that people have been asking Pokemon for. And right now, in the closed alpha, there's 70. There's plans to launch with 170 different Temtem. They have like 12 different types. They kind of simplify the types a bit, so that there's like no separate rock and ground types. There's just one earth type. And yeah, a lot of the designs look really cool. It's got a very like kind of snarky, sassy flair to it. So yeah, I believe it's going to be an open alpha later this month. I think it's on Steam. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm super excited about it. I hope it really takes off and becomes super popular. So that way, Game Freak will actually have some competition and force them to kind of innovate with Pokemon. So yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it looks really cool. It has a cute name, lots of cute little monsters.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And with that, we are done. So, we ran a little bit over, but that's okay. We had a lot of news to cover.
We got very passionate about Wildemount.
Yeah, no, that needed to be said. And sorry, not sorry at all.
Yeah.
But, if you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. Over there you can find comics, podcasts, streams, and more. as well as, my portfolio, my artwork, all that cool stuff. If you want to help support that content, help 8-Bit Adventures grow, I do have a kid on the way, so, if you can help support this content, please throw some more dollars my way. And you get cool exclusive access to, early access to comics, and exclusive patron access to certain comics, as well as access to patrons-only channels in our Discord, as well as a 10% discount on all merch in the store. Courtney, did you make sure to put that? Yeah, you didn't use that discount code, did you? Of course you didn't. So, be sure to check out patreon.com/8bitadventures. Get all that cool stuff. You can become a patron for as little as $1 singular American dollar a month.
Yeah.
And you get all that stuff. So, our opening theme is...
You could literally save yourself cost of your Patreon with a merch order.
You could. Our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his cool work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, we're out. So, as always, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming. And enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.